In 2012, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had more or less a year of treatment. I had chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and a full mastectomy of the left breast. It was hard going as you went through it, and I think one of the hardest things is when you're actually off work, you find out who's there for you, who steps up for you and who doesn't step up for you. All your colleagues from work, there's some people who really surprise you, and they're sending you messages, they're messaging you every week. People you hardly ever spoke to, and then there's people that you speak to a lot that didn't contact you once, and that can be quite hard going. All it takes is a bit of a text or a message to say thinking of you or here for you. Anytime you want a coffee, just let me know and I'll come round. They're really important because although I had cancer, I hadn't stopped being me. So, it's really important if you've got friends or family, don't just ignore the cancer patient. They're still that person. And if anything, they probably just need to let off steam or just surprisingly have things as normal as possible. If you think about it, going through the journey, everything is like appointment time. You've got to be here by this time. Nothing is in your control. There is no chit chat. There's no he said, she said's going on because you're so focused on getting through treatment and surviving. Everything else in your life is really, really heavy. With doctor's appointments, hospital appointments, you sort of crave that companionship of someone who's not in that field. Someone who'll just talk to you about everyday stuff. So that's really important when I was going through the journey. That really helped me, having people there who would do that with me or go out for a coffee with me when I was feeling well. Upon my return to work, I was really excited to get back because it was like a year later. So I was diagnosed in the October, finished treatment in the July, went back for a week as a teacher. I was a teacher in secondary school, went back for a week just to try it out, find my feet right before they broke up for the summer. I did about 2 days in that week. And then in the September, I started back on 2 days, built it up to 3. And then it was literally a full week. So it was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, return to work, which I thought was pretty fast. And I'll tell you why that is now. So I returned to work and everyone was like, oh, Sam, you look amazing. And people you'd missed, you'd not spoken to, how are you? Well done, and they put you on this pedestal of you're amazing, you've beat cancer, congratulations. And you're kind of like, yeah, I have, I'm going to do this. And then I got straight back into the teaching and I thought I could be the old Sam beforehand. So I threw myself in there and I was like, yeah, let's come up with a show, Christmas, September onwards to Christmas. I always do a Christmas show in the performing arts department. Let's do a Christmas show. And then for the first time, as I'm working through, and everyone's like, you okay? Yeah, fine. I returned to work, person said to me when I first went through the door, listen, we've never dealt with anything like this before. We're basically in your hands. You tell us what you want. And, that was it really. And then we had the phased return. But for me, I was trying to prove to myself that I was back as well. So I kept pushing myself because I wanted to be the old Sam. Forget the fact that I had chemo brain, that I was super, super fatigued, very, very tired. My mind is a very strong mind and I am so determined that I actually ended up pushing myself till I broke. Now that sounds really strange, but I can remember I went into work and I'd been told if I needed to have a rest I could go to the staff room and they'd cover my lessons if I needed to break, and that was really good of them. But when you're seeing your colleagues really stressed out in classes, one of those would have had to cover my lesson. So I can go and have a cup of tea. Just didn't seem right for me. So I didn't take them up on that offer. But what I did do is push myself and prove to myself I was back. And this one day I went into work and I went into my staff room, had a look at my timetable as normal that was up on the wall. I've been doing this this would have been, I think, around the January after Christmas. So we just had a break, I'd gone back. And I had a look at my timetable and I could see the letters, I could see the codes, and I knew that one of them was a class code, one of them was a room number. Where I should be in 3 minutes before the bell goes is there. But could I actually process what it said? So I'm looking at it And I'm looking at it and nothing is going in. And I thought, this isn't right. Why don't I understand this? I've been teaching this since September. Why don't I understand this code? So I went to my bag to ring my husband and say, something's not right here. And I had no bag. I had no phone. I had literally just took myself to work and I was there. And I had no idea that that was the state I was in. And I couldn't cognitively process this code. And I kind of started freaking out a little bit, because in 2 minutes I had 30 children turning up for me in a classroom somewhere in this big school, and there'll be chaos if I'm not there. So I ran up to the HR department to say, something's not wrong, something's wrong, I need someone to cover my class, something's not right. And the lady who dealt with it wasn't actually in that day, so the door was locked. So I'm just staring at this door, crying my eyes out, thinking, what the hell do I do? What is wrong with me? And that was the first time our head teacher has ever been on his own in his room with his door open with no one in there with him. And he saw me and he was like, Sam, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm bloody not. I don't know what's going on. I don't know this, I don't know that. And I was just all of a sudden, and he went, come in, come and have a cup of tea. And he sat me down. He was lovely. And I remember I just bawled out all these things, like, because I've been off for a year. So it was like, I don't know who to go to for this. I don't know who's supposed to have this. And my registers are, where do they go? I don't know whether I've filled this in. My assessments are behind this. And I thought, oh my God, as I'm saying all this, I'm thinking, I'm in a really bad state. But I didn't see it. If I'd have been monitored or had a weekly meeting with someone each week, that could have been checked upon, or something may have been noticed. I don't know. But I was basically told, I think I had 2 meetings after I'd returned to work, and that was it. And that was over a 6-week period. So for me, I feel really passionate about getting it right when people return to work. I'm a very good teacher. I had a really good reputation, and it got me to the point where I decided I went off sick. I went off with stress, went through all the rigmarole, going through the health checks to see what was wrong with me and anything like that, the school ones. I can't remember what they're called. And they said it wasn't stress, it was depression. Now, if you know me, I'm a very upbeat person, and I'm like, what, me? Depressed? What have I got to be depressed about? I've just saved my life. I've just lived through cancer. I'm still here. I'm one of the lucky ones who's still not battling anymore. So I couldn't hack the thought of it being depression, but the doctor said, no, depression doesn't show in sadness. Depression can show in a cognitive impairment as well. Because I was trying to mark papers, and the papers I was trying to mark, I would read the criteria of what I was marking the paper against. Then I would go to the paper, read the first line of that, and then I'd forgotten what the criteria was. I just couldn't retain things. And it's to do with all the hormones being messed about with all the chemotherapy. I've been pickled, basically. So nothing was running right yet. So yeah, I was just trying to survive and keep going, Sam, you've got this. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. That's all I did when I returned to work. Didn't ask for help because I thought I could do it. Now, this happens a lot with a lot of people as they go through. I mean, especially the strong ones, the stronger ones, should I say. They're so determined to be better that they miss the signs and symptoms that they're actually not. They're not doing as well as they like. So it's so important for a workplace to support someone like me who thinks they can do it, but someone just to be watching on the outskirts to make sure that I am okay. Because of that, I ended up taking a voluntary redundancy, because I thought, if I can't work at the level I've always worked for the past 14-year career in teaching, the reputation I had, I didn't want to ruin that. So I walked away from teaching. I walked away from teaching to create Sam's Diamonds, so it was a good idea, but I walked away from teaching. Now, teaching lost a good teacher, and that profession is losing lots of teachers. We actually have so many teachers in Sam's Diamonds, and it's professionals that we need to keep in the job, which is why we're bringing about this Connect programme. So using my knowledge and using the knowledge of 465 people who've returned to work or not returned to work. That's what this Connect programme is all about. It contains information, top tips, and how you can actually support your employees.